Hello, I'm Carl, and this is my commentary for the evaluation in my blog, Activity 3. I will be talking about which institution, what institution, would distribute this media product, which would obviously be a radio, with it being a news bulletin. For our news bulletin, our group, which is me, Sean, and Becky, we produced our news bulletin for a local radio station called Oldham Community Radio. I believe the role of a local radio station is, the main role is to provide news and information for the community in which it's based in, but also to entertain entertain its audience as well through music and interesting segments. Otherwise, they wouldn't have much audience. Another local station is BBC Lancashire, which is an information-only station, so there's no music at all on it. It's mainly just news and local information. This would have more of a mature audience with it being no music, because I honestly don't believe any younger people, say Oldham's 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. strand, would be interested in just hearing the news and other information. At the moment, there's 24 local radio stations in the northwest, and when we listen to Oldham Community Radio to study it, we listen to a presenter named Gerald. We listened to a presenter named Gerald, who was currently on it. He seemed quite old, no offence, and the music that was playing was old, so we may have been listening to, say, the over 60 strand or something. Another local radio station is BBC Manchester, one of the biggest radio stations in probably the northwest. Their audience vary depending on the programme strands and what time it's being on, but they play a variety of music, segments and other stuff. Now I'll be speaking about Oldham Community Radio's missions, aims and values. Oldham officially say that their mission is to provide the community with current news and information. The station itself says that it uses a niche system to suit the strand it is played at, so they have different strands for their different targeted audience. These are a few of the strands. From during the weekdays, working weekdays, there are about 9 strands. From 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, there is the overnight repeats from the afternoon programs the night before. These are basic for anyone working the graveyard shift. From 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. it's the school and colleges strand, which is what we were aiming to get. This was part of our target audience. From 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. it's the Oldham wide strand, which just basically tries to involve all the audiences, from youths to adults to older people. Then you have from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. the over 60s strand. It speaks for itself. They play mostly old music from the 50s and 60s. From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. it's the multilingual strand. From 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. it comes the Oldham wide strand again. And then from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. the special music and interest stand comes on. And from 8 to 9 p.m. the debate and discussion strand is on, where basically they discuss things that are happening in the local area. At the time I was recording this, one would be, say, the problems caused by the roadworks. And from 9 p.m. to 12 p.m. the special music and interest stand comes back on and plays for a while. On Saturday and Sunday there is, from 12 a.m. to 1 p.m. there is the special music and interest stand, which just basically plays, again, it fits into the niche audience. And then from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. the sports strand is on, just basically giving a roundup of the week's events. And then from 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. the 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. the special music and interest strand comes back on, which again is just again for the niche audience. Oldham Community Radio receives its funding from Oldham Council, Sports Relief Community Cash and Zen Internet Limited. All the staff are volunteers and they're all very dedicated, and Oldham Community Radio also makes uses of advertisements to fund itself. Oldham Community Radio gathers its news from Sky Sports Centre. This is mainly because it is, well, I would say it's more professional, as if you gathered it from local sources, the news may be wrong or it may be missing details. So this is just basically to make sure they get the full story. Our news bulletin was aimed at the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. strand, the schools and colleges strand. As I believe it was quite suitable, especially considering our main story, which was about the EMA cuts. I believe it will be very interesting to any students because of the things we cover in it. There's a lot of details that could be of interest to them. Our second story, the royal wedding story, may have different opinions because it depends where the audience themselves feel about the story. Some may like it, some may not. The off the wall story about the cat being selected for jury duty, that's just for amusement mostly, and just to round up the news story, news bulletin, and just to finish it off with something to amuse the audience, so they're not too laid down by all these other stories. Speaking of our bulletin, I believe a main strength we had was the sounds we used. Created using Avery. They provided good quality sound, and I believe the intro and the outro jingle especially sounded quite like a professional news broadcast. A weakness of our bulletin was perhaps the volume that we were recording. Well, not the volume of the actual bulletin, but mainly me when I was presenting it. My voice is quite shaky, and that part's it kind of changes a lot. But generally, I believe that the bulletin was quite successful, and it would be very effective if it was played at the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. strand. Obviously, though, it would need expanding to fit in a couple more stories and be redone, so we have new stories that are up to date with today or whenever it was played. But generally, I believe it's very good, and I was proud of my attempts, and that's it really. Also, there's a picture on my blog underneath where this will be placed, and that will show a visual representation of all the strands. And that's about it. Thanks.